Hello everyone and welcome to Advice Avenue, a podcast by Citizens Advice East Lancashire, the place to get the answers to all your questions. I'm your host Milen, the social media manager at Citizens Advice East Lancashire, and I'm here today with my amazing team.
Hi there, my name is Shahid. I'm the Senior Advisor for Making Tax Digital, working for Citizens Advice East Lancashire.
Hi, I'm Judy Yacoub. I'm the Project Manager for Making Tax Digital for Citizens Advice East Lancashire.
Today we're going to talk about the steps, challenges and support available when starting a business in the UK.
So before we start, I thought it would be good to run through a few questions, a little quiz sort of thing, around self-employment. So I've got 3 questions here. It's a bit of a multiple choice. You can take your pick.
All right.
And I'd like to hear from each of you, what you think the answer actually is.
Okay.
So what percentage of the UK working population is self-employed, do you think? Is it 13.1%? Is it 16.8% or 20.3%?
Should be about 20%, because I think a lot of young people are doing businesses online and so forth. So there's a lot of business going on in the outside world today.
Okay.
I think the same, especially with social media getting a lot of traction and becoming very popular. I might say 23%.
Yeah, there is a lot going on in creative industries generally, and particularly sort of influencing online and so on. The actual answer is 13.1%, which is surprising.
All right.
It has dropped by almost 2% since COVID.
Do you think that's because a lot of people do not register?
No, I think it's more complex than that. But I think there is and obviously, things like the cost of living, for example, where people need to have a regular income. And self-employment, when you start off, isn't often that way. You may be waiting a long time for people to pay you, bills come in regularly, and it's difficult to manage. And I think people are genuinely a little bit cautious about launching into a business for themselves when they may already be on benefits or in a full-time or part-time employment.
All right.
Okay.
On the flip side, I think what's happened in the last year or so, I think the cost of living has risen so much.
True. Yes.
So that could be the reason for decline.
Of course.
Numbers.
Yeah. It's something that would be worth looking into in more detail, but it was a surprise to me too. I thought it would be higher. Okay.
All right. What's
So
the next one?
a second question for you: which working age group that is most affected by unemployment? Do you think?
I would say the younger generation.
Younger generation
16 to 20, maybe 16 to 25.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I would say the same, maybe because of lack of experience, I would say.
Oh, okay. You're right. It is the 16 to 24s that are most affected. Again, I would have thought that it might be slightly different, the older generation perhaps, but there you are. And my final question, what do you think in terms of the gender issues behind self-employment? Do you think there are more men self-employed than women, or the other way around?
I think it's a difficult one. It's difficult to guess, but I would say because women may have families to look after or whatever. So for that reason, I'd say men would be more.
Okay. How about you, Milan?
Actually, I don't know. Maybe the jobs for men are a bit more, I think. Let's say maybe like building or something like that. So I think, I think I'm going to have the same answer like him. Yeah.
You're right. Nearly twice as many men as women go into self-employment. A comparison of 16.2% to 9.5% by the latest statistics I could find. And again, there are all sorts of issues behind that, whether people start later in life, women start later in life once they no longer have the responsibilities of raising children, for example, or running a home, and they have time to spend on themselves. But I think it's just finding that moment in life where you're prepared to make the plunge.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's what this is about.
Yes, we're going to talk about why start a business and when a hobby becomes a business. Okay, guys, what are some common reasons people start their own business? Why do you think people start their own business?
I think there are several or many reasons why people do start their business. One is people may have hobbies,
Mm-hmm.
which may they want to turn into like a small side hustle or a small business. It could be motivation to be independent. They want to be their own boss. Young people nowadays are very reluctant to be told what to do. And some people have that motivation to sort of go out there and be, stand on their own two footsteps.
Yeah.
So that's another reason. The other reason might be additional source of income. People nowadays, with all the cost of living expenses, people might need side incomes. Nowadays, especially with the market, how the world is with the internet and social media, it's easier to go out there and start something.
Yeah.
So it's quite sort of easy for people to start businesses. I think. I don't know what you guys think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think the key thing is that people are catching on that they don't have to do everything themselves. There are interfaces like eBay, Etsy, where you can put your product or your service forward. You can take your passion and package it in a way that it actually earns you an income, whether it's directly through products and services or whether it's through income earned through advertisement on your website and so on. So there's so many different options out there, and particularly in areas where the opportunity for rewarding well-paid jobs is small. There's every incentive for people to try and find a way forward for themselves. And I think we all have our hobbies that we probably have a secret dream that we'd like to do more with, and for some people that really works out, whether it's art, whether it's sort of sewing, something practical, building, whatever. There's all sorts out there that people can do and realize that they can supplement their income or turn it into their entire income.
And basically, with social media becoming popular, we have a lot of people who are, making videos, and they can earn money through advertising other products, brands, or anything. And all of this is, taxable, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what's the first thing to consider before, diving in to, making your own business?
I think the key thing is basically is planning, understanding what your product, what is it you're selling, who your market, what's the marketplace. Do a bit of analysis, environment, social and social environments, who your customer's going to be, where you're going to sell, what is the product going to work in this market, where it's going to work. It's just get a whole broad spectrum of what the marketplace is before you start off. And obviously the second step's always your finances and your regulation. But that first initially you've got to start off with your planning of understanding the marketplace.
And I think people should know that they are not alone, and they can find help anywhere, to be honest, these days, especially with us, with HMRC. We have, internet, and you can find a lot of information before you start your own business.
It really depends where you're starting from. If you're already, for example, in receipt of benefits, universal credit, you would need to inform your work coach at the job centre, make an appointment, and then discuss your intention with them so that they can decide whether it is a viable business with you and what you might need to do. And they can also provide some helpful advice on this. The other issue obviously is to register with HMRC that you are now self-employed and will need to submit a self-assessment tax return.
So do you think a business plan is important?
No, absolutely. You should have, at least in your own mind, if not written down on a piece of paper or some sort of plan. You have to know what your aim is and what you're trying to do.
Yeah. All right.
I think that just going back to personal experience in setting up a business myself, I needed to explain exactly what it was that I was doing, what the potential income would be, how it would be earned, and so on, to be able to decide whether it was a viable business in the first place. So yes, it's as well to kind of sketch out not just what you think you will make from it, but what that rationale is. What are the things that affect that? Looking at it from a best case scenario, as well as what happens when you have long stretches where you may not be earning. How do you cover that?
Yeah.
From my experience, I think that's very key because you have to cater for the worst case scenario. So basically, if you've got outgoings, if you've got rent to pay or you run your car, whatever it is you need for your business as well. So basically, you have to allow some sort of reserve to cover off for sort of a rainy day or if things,
Absolutely,
between your dips in your business, you have to make sure you're able to sustain your daily outgoings.
And I think this is probably one of the really tough bits for people to make that decision. Is this the right time for me to make that step forward? And I guess what we need to do is to remember that if we wait for the right moment, we might just keep on waiting. So take the advice that's out there, look for the help that's out there. There are plenty of organizations that can assist besides our own, and I think best of luck with your plans.
Absolutely, that's great. Love that. All right, so we're gonna talk about some legal and registration basics. So how, what, why, where, when, the most important questions. What's the difference between sole trader, partnership, and limited company? Because I'm absolutely sure that a lot of people are asking the same question. What are the differences?
Yeah, so basically there's three types of sort of business types. One is a sole trader. It could be anything, as colleague mentioned. It could be artwork, it could be selling plants, or it could be selling absolutely anything, or providing a service of some sort, or it could be a YouTuber, it could be absolutely anything, but doing individually. That's a sole trader. And the second one is a limited company. You're trading as a company. So what that means, you have to assign a director, a secretary for the company. You have to register with the company's house. So it's a bit more regulated. So you're trading, and you've got basically legal governance around your business. And the third one is partnerships. Basically, this is partnerships where two or more individuals come together and set up a business.
Well, with existing businesses, or is it maybe they can start a new business?
It can be. You could be a sole trader and then become a partnership.
Right.
You could be a partnership, in the future. But it could be either.
Okay, that's great to know. Yeah.
I think the point is that these are all, at the end of it, legal entities. You as a sole trader, you are that legal entity responsible for what goes on in your business. With a limited company, the limited company is what takes on that legal entity. So you are separated from that, and in the event of liability, it's the company that bears it rather than you individually. Those are some of the differences. And again, there are organizations that can advise in much more detail about what you might be looking at for a legal structure. And when you might want to change as well to evolve your business. Yeah,
and it's not something we can go into detail today, but for example, for a sole trader, there are some limits how much you can earn before you can register for VAT, for example. I think the limit is about 90,000 currently.
85,000, I believe. Yeah.
85,000.
But you can voluntarily register before then,
absolutely.
And that may be of benefit to certain industries, particularly. So construction, for example.
And then obviously you have to understand the governance around the limited company aspect. Where you have to pay corporation tax on your profits. You can understand the dividends. How you can take dividends on your profits. How you pay the salaries, PAYE, all that has to be set up. Governance. There's a bit more governance in setting up a limited company. And obviously you need liability insurance. All that thing comes into it.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I think that the simple way of describing it is that a limited company is useful if you have assets that you want to protect. So that might be a vehicle that belongs to the company or property of some description. As a sole trader, starting out, say, evolving a hobby into something, probably a sole trader is the most appropriate way to start. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have a maybe in-depth conversation in the next episodes where we can talk about all three of them and we can see the differences.
Sure.
All right. How do you register a business in the UK?
There's many ways. So basically, if you're a sole trader, you have to let the government know that basically the .gov website, you have to register on there. So
online.
You can register with them, and obviously you have to ensure that you pay your taxes and your if you register VAT, you have to pay VAT quarterly, and obviously with the new laws coming in regarding the making tax digital. At the moment the limit is 20,000, which will go up to 50,000 in the future. So
Alright.
you'll have to submit your income.
Income. Okay.
I mean, your first step really would be registering with HMRC. You would get, by setting up your gateway account,
Yes.
you get your unique taxpayer reference number,
UTR
which
number.
you would quote on every return, and so on. And the gateway account is really useful because you can keep a record of your national insurance payments. That obviously later on down the line will affect your pension eligibility and payments. The government gateway does monitor all sorts of things, from sort of benefit payments to pensions to national insurance, your self-assessment, anything that you owe. It's a handy reference point. And then on top of that, of course, we now have the HMRC app, which you can download to your phone, which does all of that.
What about the impact of moving into self-assessment?
Particularly if you are in receipt of benefits now, because for every pound that you earn, you will face deductions from your benefits. So it's as well to have that discussion with the work coach at the job centre, just to make sure that you're fully aware of how that works. And particularly where your income isn't a steady income each month, how you take the hit basically of an income that is sort of in peaks and troughs.
Okay.
How that affects your benefits, because obviously they will be paid in arrears, and it may cause some difficulties for you over time, where you have regular bills coming in, as my colleague Shahid has said, whether it's your energy bills or your rent or your mortgage. Those things don't wait for you to bring in the income, so you really have to balance that. And as I say, if you're coming off benefits as well, or retaining benefit as well as your self-employed income, it can get a bit tricky. But there are, there's help out there if you find yourself with questions or in any difficulty. Don't hesitate to ask for that help.
So it's time to talk about regulations and compliance. What legal obligations should new businesses be aware of?
There are 2-3 important points to note here in terms of regulation and compliance. In terms of self-assessment, you must register for self-assessment if your earnings are over £1,000. And secondly, you will be responsible for recording all your income and expenses and paying your tax and national insurance on a yearly basis. Noting this, you must be responsible for keeping record of all your transactions, whether it be paper receipts or whether it be electronic receipts or payments, expenses. You must keep a record of all this. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for you to sort of, submit all your transactions to HMRC. A lot of the times, a lot of people don't understand this and they don't record their expenses at the end of the year. It becomes very difficult for them to submit all their transactions. The other key thing is there are deadlines for submitting your self-assessments. So there are certain dates you must abide by and follow, otherwise you'd get penalties applied to yourselves. So it's very important that you keep a record of all your transactions and submit your transactions on time. And following in from that, there's a new way of reporting your income and expenses coming in April 26, which is termed as Making Tax Digital. So every self-employed person or landlord, that's the word I was looking for, must use this new way of paying income tax and reporting income to HMRC, which is coming in April 2026. And I think that at a high level, anybody who is earning 50,000 will have to abide by the regulation. You must report your income by using this new method in April 2026. In 2027, it'll go down to 30k. If you're earning 30k, you have to use the new method. And in April 2028, it's going to be 20,000.
The thing to draw attention to is Making Tax Digital. This is a huge change in the way that tax is recorded and collected from people, because it relies on real-time analysis. In the first instance, Shahid's quite right. This is about target groups. In the first instance, landlords and construction businesses who will be asked to use the new system. This is online. There are certain types of software available for doing this. Most of these businesses probably will have an agent already working for them, so it's not like you have to do everything yourself, but you must record your expenditure correctly.
Yes.
And these days, with electronic receipts, with bank transactions and so on, it's all there. All that information is readily available to yourself as well as HMRC. So if by any chance you miss anything, you may find that you receive what's called a nudge letter, just to remind you that this is something you need to add to your self-assessment return. The deadlines, as you've mentioned, are there on the .gov.uk website. We also will have them on our own website for Citizens Advice East Lancashire, and at the end of this podcast, just so that you're aware of the calendar that you need to apply to your responses.
We've covered mostly everything. Do you think that there is any other common mistakes that people do when starting a business?
Neglecting the fact that you have to record everything and keeping a true record,
right.
true record of your transactions.
Yes.
That's the key thing to remember here.
Okay.
And making your submissions on time.
All right.
Yeah, it's easy enough to keep a record on a weekly or a monthly basis when you put fuel into your vehicle,
Yes.
when you are buying stamps if you need to send things out. All of that, there should be a record. And it doesn't need to be anything remarkably difficult to do. Simple software, an Excel spreadsheet or whatever will do the job perfectly well. What you spent, when you spent it, what you spent it on, and then the evidence behind that by way of a receipt. And that's fine. Generally speaking, if there's any kind of difficulty with recording that, there are organizations out there able to provide advice and help online as well as face-to-face.
Speaking about support and resources, what about the local support? How can Citizens Advice East Lancashire help?
We can help particularly with a shortcut for people. So if there's a question around PAYE issues, for example, we have a direct line to HMRC's extra support team. They're able to give advice and provide evidence of anything that you might need to provide in terms of paper evidence. So, for example, a record of your national insurance payments, a record of the tax paid, what your tax reference code has been, if it needs changing. These are all simple things that they can deal with, and it just saves time waiting for a call to be picked up on the general public helpline. So yes, we can make things happen a little bit more quickly.
What about face-to-face? We have drop-in sessions as well where people can come visit and we can help them on the
absolutely.
On the go.
So there's going to be a drop-in session every week, so people can come in and ask questions, and we can advise and direct people accordingly.
All right.
The process is that people can contact us first of all by telephone, email, using the web chat system, all registered on our website. They can attend a drop-in session. That is really the first port of call for expressing the issues that you have. From there, the advisor that you see will be able to decide whether it's an issue that can be signposted more effectively, referred to a specialist organization, or dealt with by a subsequent appointment. So there are all of these things that can be scheduled. Our drop-in sessions are normally held in the morning. Appointments are in the afternoon. Once you are given an appointment to attend, it's very important that any calls that come through to you will come from an unlisted number. So if your phone is blocking that kind of call, then just be aware you will get a call from us if that's your preferred method, or email. Again, you're able to specify how you'd like to be contacted. But we will get in touch with you, and if it isn't answered, then I'm afraid obviously we have to close the case. So it's very important always to sort of stay in touch with us one way or the other.
Make sure to pick the phone up.
That is it.
Yes, it
That
is.
is
It's important. So what about HMRC? How can HMRC help? Let's talk about the HMRC app.
Yes, The app is relatively new. It is easily downloaded onto your phone. You will need to provide evidence of your ID to be able to access it. So that can be a current passport, a driving license, a birth certificate, and so on. There's a list of what's eligible on the .gov.uk website, or you can call in and ask us at a drop-in session, and we'll be happy to help you download the HMRC app. We do have a session here every week on Monday from 3 till 5 to help people who need assistance with digital skills. So whether it's about downloading the app, whether it's about setting up a government gateway account, or any other issue that you have a problem with, there's somebody there who can help. But it is by appointment only. And so the details for that are on our website, and we can make arrangements from there for you.
All right, amazing.
Yeah, just to add what Judy said, the app will provide a single moment of truth for the customer. So basically, it'll show them how much tax they've paid, what NI contributions they've made, what benefits they're receiving. So all the tax or income related information will be on the app, so it's readily available for the person.
That's you can make payments through the app.
You can register for self-assessment.
Exactly. And it covers all sorts of other things as well, child benefit, for example.
National
so it's a really
insurance.
Comprehensive and handy app to have. And it can be downloaded in minutes, subject to providing that evidence of identity.
All right, so it's time for our followers' questions segment. So we have a couple of questions from our followers, and we'll try to answer them. Is earning money from social media taxable? We've already covered it in the beginning, but let's say a little bit more.
So all income, regardless of the source, is taxable.
All right.
So social media is no exception.
Yeah.
So it's definitely taxable.
What about threshold? How much money you can earn before you register for self-assessment?
So it's as I said earlier, it's £1,000.
£1,000. Is it going to change soon to 3,000?
It is due to increase to 3,000, but we don't have a date for that yet.
We don't have a date then, so stay tuned. Can I be paid cash in hand?
You can be paid cash in hand. However, you do have to declare it.
Okay.
Not declaring it obviously could be a problem. So just be aware that there are different ways of tracing that income.
Okay.
It's best to keep an accurate record. It's not against the law to take cash in hand, but the responsibility is on you to declare it.
What about VAT? Let's talk about it.
VAT is an issue, I suppose, for most businesses. It will be once they're well advanced. I think the threshold at the moment is 85,000 per annum. There are instances where it's advisable to voluntarily register for VAT beforehand. So, for example, if you know that your income is going to increase rapidly, you can take that step. When you register early and when you register at all, there are you should take advice on that. I'm sure my colleague will.
Usually, where there's a lot of receipted expenses in a business, that's where it's advisable to register for VAT, because then you can offset it against your VAT payments. That's when usually people register for VAT.
It's particularly something you would be concerned with in the construction industry, for example, or if you were refurbishing a building where you have a lot of expense going on that is eligible.
Yeah. All right. So here, talking about expenses, what expenses can I claim back? Briefly.
You can claim back for work-related travel. You can claim for equipment or clothing that you need to wear. It's quite an extensive list.
Yeah, I think like stationery or things.
And there's a lot of information about that. You can also tune into webinars provided by HMRC on this very subject as well.
That is very good to know. It's time for a quick tips round. Fast, practical advice, all in under 5 seconds. Let's try it. One tip for someone starting a business. What do you say?
Be well prepared. Do your analysis. Do your research. Well prepared, yeah.
Okay, what about you? What do you think is important?
You don't have to do everything yourself. there are people out there who can provide specific skills that you may not have and allow you to get on with building your business and working on what is your passion. So it's not necessary to be an accountant or a marketeer or whatever. You just need to focus on what your core business is. There's always help out there.
So that's for today's episode of Advice Avenue. Thank you for watching. For more information and advice, you can visit our website here, and you can also follow us on all other social media platforms, links down below.
So thanks for listening to us today on this subject. We've only been able to touch the surface of it, really. If some of this has raised questions in your own mind that you'd like to ask, please do put them in the comments below. We'll be really happy to address any queries that you have in subsequent issues of this Advice Avenue.
Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like. See you next time.